Hello and welcome to this week's Ruby Shoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. In this week's episode, we have a review of the absolutely hilarious Dracula the Bloody Truth, which was hosted by the new Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich last week. We get to take a look around the Quay Theatre in Sudbury, and I also stumble across something I've never been inside before. Plus, we hear from another comedian this week. I know, I'm spoiling you. This week it's Mike McClean. He'll be bringing his very own brand of mirth to this year's Ipswich Regent Panto, Sleeping Beauty, in December. Now, if you went to last year's Panto, you'll know he brought the house down with his character, Mr. Smee. Plus, I've got some ideas for you might like to check out. Despite the colder, wetter weather, our theatres and entertainment venues are full of fantastic shows to keep you feeling warm and cheery. First, let me tell you about Dracula the Bloody Truth. Have a listen to this.
Look, see how Miss Lucy Rose are walking by some dark force inside her. See the lust, the hunger in her eyes. Oh, if only I had been there. But I'm still not in this damn story yet. It's like I'm trapped in a glass case and they will just communicate, for example, like this, like, Lucy, don't go in the window. But she can't hear me because she's trapped in this glass case. Like, Lucy, don't go in the window. So the glass ceiling, so it's really soundproof and everything. Like, Lucy, don't go in the window. You understand the metaphor I'm giving you, don't you? Like, Lucy, don't go in the window. You understand the metaphor, right? Yes! Great, like 15 people, thank you so much. As she approaches the window, it opens by itself. Not the upper row. There's the blue row in it. We're on the blue row. Oh, my goodness. Don't help me. What help you now?
Now, this version of Dracula is a critically acclaimed, multi-5-star award-winning, hilarious comedy, and it really was belly laugh funny. And it was presented by the Professor Abraham Van Helsing and his 3 idiotic characters on stage, and the whole production was just hilarious from start to finish. Very slapstick, very, very funny. Lots of surprises for the audience. If you went along and didn't quite know what to expect, then you ended up just laughing. I mean, you could hear the audience there, couldn't you? It was just excellent, really, really good. And I'm pleased to say the actors are going to be back at the Wolsey with their comedy of King Arthur in April 2024. Tickets go on sale at the new Wolsey Theatre, 10 o'clock on Saturday the 11th of November. So that's this month. You can get your hands on some tickets to see them again. Now, next I went along to the Quay Theatre in Sudbury. It's one of Suffolk's smallest theatres, and I was invited to look around backstage by the writer and director of this year's Panto, Cinderella. That's David Holman. He's in charge of pulling the whole thing together. Oh, well, David, thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
We're here to talk about Cinderella, which you're directing and producing.
Yes, I wrote it.
You wrote it.
I'll give you the background to that, but
okay.
I wrote it about 3 months ago. Prepared it, and we've been rehearsing since the 9th of October.
Okay.
So we're about 3 or 4 weeks in.
Well, before I ask you about that, I want to ask about this beautiful theatre. We're at the Quay Theatre here in Sudbury, overlooking the river, which is wonderful. And there's actually sun coming in the windows, which is so nice at this time of year to feel that warmth. Tell me a bit about the theatre, because it's really close to your heart and close to your home, isn't it? Quite literally.
Yeah, it's one of these places that when it gets a hold on you, it doesn't let go. Because that's how I came here in 1983. Auditioned for A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I didn't know that 40 years later I'd be back directing. So it just gets in your system. And people I talk to all say the same thing. It's got a charm. Once people come here, they do come back.
Yeah.
But it's getting the word out to everybody. There are still locals to this day who say to me, "Oh, I didn't know you had a theatre here." It is rather tucked away, isn't it? Down Quay Lane by the river. It's not a central theatre where everybody knows where it is.
Yeah.
But even so, there are still people that are unaware of the Quay Theatre and what goes on here. I mean, we do a variety of things. Apart from theatre, there's pop concerts, there's even wrestling. We used to have jazz clubs back in the 80s, and art displays are always up as well. So it's comedy, visiting celebrities. We've had them all here over the years, you know.
Yeah.
Fascinating Ada was one of my favourite. The trio of ladies do their comedy music, you know.
And how many seats have you got here?
Oh, that's a good question. About 120, I think.
And is it Suffolk's smallest theatre?
Oh, that's another good one.
Last week in the podcast, I said it's probably Suffolk's smallest theatre. I think it's one of them. Should we call it that?
It's small in that we've only got one stage exit.
Yeah.
If you try to exit stage left, you hit a brick wall. So that does, obviously make it a bit smaller. It probably is. I was trying to think of the Fisher Theatre in Bungay. That's quite small. Yeah.
But what's nice is you get real intimate performances then. It's almost like being in someone's front room, isn't it?
Yes, the acoustics are lovely. And there's a chap I follow here regularly. He does a one-man show. And he just has the audience spellbound. And all he's got is a few, a seat and a few things draped around the stage.
He? Give us a tip. We'll catch
Jonathan Goodwin, I think his name is.
Yeah. And what sort of show is that?
He did a one-man Dracula, one-man Sherlock Holmes, one about a serial killer, which was very unnerving.
Really?
I mean, I was like 5 seats back and I thought, I'm glad I'm not in the front row, because that stare is just getting to me. So I always try and get to see him when he's here. But that's what I mean about variety. I mean, one day you're watching a one-man show, next you've got people fighting it out on a wrestling ring, then you've got Kate Bush, Kate Bush tribute act coming soon. I saw her this time last year. That was fabulous as well. Very emotional, actually, because I've got a lot of connections to Kate Bush songs, so it's like, all right, it's all coming back.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Music is very emotive like that. It literally takes you right back to the moment when you first heard it quite often. You can be 15 all over again, can't you?
This is it. When the 70s and 80s music, yes, it does that. As I'm sure it does for others my age.
So, talking of sort of eras and things, how old do you think this theatre is?
I can tell you how old the building is.
Yeah.
It started life in 1791.
Did it really?
It was a warehouse for the River Stour Navigation Company until 1913, when they went into liquidation. And surprisingly, it stayed almost unused for many years. It was used as a store for bulldozers and cement mixers until 1977, so it's quite a long time for it just being used as a storage. When it was purchased by SDS, Sudbury Dramatic Society, for £15,000. That was the brainchild of a man called Rick Dunning. He was our first Quay Theatre manager, who sadly died in 1990. A lovely man. I got to know him and work under him. We did an Erpingham camp back in the 80s. And then they've realised over time they needed money to do the conversion, so they got sort of private fundraising going on. And it eventually opened as a theatre in 1981. There's a local businessman who was also interested in theatre called Jeff Kisby. And to this day we now have a Jeff Kisby room up on the upper floor, which I'll show you later, just in commemoration of this man. Wow. And he was in the presence of Max Wall. I'm not sure what the connection is, but Max Wall was there on the opening day.
Oh my goodness.
That was 5th of December 1981, so that's how long Sudbury Dramatic Society and the theatre has actually been up and running.
Yeah.
So that's 40... Oh, I've lost track how long that is, actually. 40 odd years, isn't it?
Well, you're like me. You're probably a child of the 80s, and you can't think that it could possibly be that old. And you think, well, that's just ridiculous. When you go through 40 odd years, well, that's ridiculous. It can't be that old. Can it? Must be at least 10. That's all.
Well, also, there's always been the ups and downs over the years financially. It's been challenged, and somebody or something has always come to its rescue.
Yes.
And here we are, thriving more than ever. And it is fabulous. And as I say, over the years, had a variety of entertainments. We had, let's say, jazz clubs, film societies, because obviously with the cinema closing, they thought, what's a golden opportunity to put films on here. And all, as I say, all those visiting professionals. And then it gained charitable status in 1987. I'm not sure the history, but it then was because Sudbury Dramatic Society bought it and owned it, and then it was handed over to a trust. But it's been a very symbiotic relationship, to keep things ticking over. And we pay for space up on the top floor for all our costumes, which is quite extensive. So, and we still, the Jetty, I don't know if you saw as you came by, there's a little place called the Jetty.
Yes, I saw the sign.
Originally owned by the Bowls Club, but they leased it out to Sudbury Dramatic Society and other groups, so you get all sorts of things going on in there, but we do a lot of our rehearsals there, which is ideal when it comes to moving across with your costumes and props and everything into the theatre. You're not a long way away, so that's been lovely. And it's a big space, so when you've got a large cast, it's room to move,
So tell me about Cinderella, because you've written it, you're directing it. Tell me about the cast first of all. How big is the cast this year?
I was told it shouldn't have been bigger than 11, so that's why I went for 11.
Yeah.
I did originally had a chorus of 5, and I had all these great plans what I'd do with these 5 people. I said, oh no, you can only have 2. Oh, okay. So I tailored it to 2. I was approached to write it by a member of SDS. They said, we need a traditional pantomime for next year. And I said, well, I've written 9 pantos with my wife over the years. And I said, which one would you want? They said, it'd be great if we did Cinderella, because it's been 10 years since they last did it, and that's quite a long time for
It's like an anniversary edition. Almost.
And I said, well, it's just, you're in luck, because my wife did write Cinderella back in 2005 for our group over in Gloucester. And I said, but the problem is it was written for a cast of 30, so I won't be able to just
it's quite a lot of
use
adaptations.
that. I'll just have to I took elements from it, and then I used that to sort of build my own version of Cinderella, and the key word was traditional, because the pantomime of all productions through the year is really for the people of Sudbury. It's where families bring their children at Christmas. It's something to look forward to, and they all go away happy, and you see them come back year after year, which is great. So with that sort of remit, I thought, okay, so I went away, and I kept it quite tight. Anybody who says you can write a panto script straight off is lying, because it takes 3 or 4 drafts. My initial draft I gave to the committee, and they said, yes, that's lovely, but we can't have that opening, and really we need a scene added in there. If you could just add that and tweak that. And I thought, no, it's fine, I was happy. And I thought, because I expected to do that, but I thought, okay, I didn't think it was ready to go, but that's fine. So I went and took that away.
You thought it was closer than that.
Well, yes, but eventually you get to a point, I submitted it to the committee, and they said, that's great, we're happy with that. You have our blessing to go on.
So are they going to be sort of local landmarks and things that people are going to recognise, and maybe some in-jokes for people in Sudbury or people of Suffolk? How does that work? Has we've been able to sort of stick some of those into the plot?
You get a bit more flexibility with a panto script. Obviously, like with the Ugly Sisters, I've written all their routines, but in rehearsals I said, look, if you want to add to this or tweak it a little bit, I'm happy. Just come to me with the ideas. And the fairy's got a line where she says, I could have turned you into something hideous like, and I said, well, I don't know what the local reference would be, so choose somebody. You don't want to insult or offend people.
Because they're sitting in the audience.
But there is always that bit of leeway. So there's the script, that's just the start. Then the actors bring something to it, and then you think, okay, we can insert local jokes. So that's never a problem. So we're about, let's say, 3 weeks into rehearsal. It's all going, well, swimmingly, eventually.
This is the tricky time, isn't it? Because everyone's trying to sort of gel together and learn the scripts and,
Yes, we've literally just got past the blocking, which is always the slog of any play or panto. Yeah. The blocking the moves. We've had sickness and weather conditions people away to contend with. The lady who's playing the prince in my pantomime is currently the lead in Thrill of Love that they're doing next week, and that's a very heavy part for her to take on. So I've given a bit of leeway. I said, look, we can hold off using it until later.
What you mean about blocking as well.
Well, blocking is just, not all directors do it, but I prefer to go in with a solid idea of how I'm going to use the stage and what space you've got to work with, because sometimes you can make glaring mistakes in your script, because you think, I wrote exits for stage left, and said, you don't have a stage left.
No,
I've seen people going off stage left. Yes, but in panto you're covering the whole back with your set, and if you put an exit in, you've suddenly truncated that to much smaller. So so in terms of blocking, it's just blocking the basic entrances and exits and the moves around the stage, and making sure that they're not blocking each other, so that you haven't got somebody who's obscured by an actor in front of them. It's basically making sure people are
going to be in the right place at the right time.
That's it, and then it looks good. It's all about creating shapes as well, and using the stage, because a lot of actors need to be told, come down stage more, or if you're back there, make sure you project more, because you've got to hit the back of the row. I always buy a ticket when I'm watching a show in the very back row to see what the projection's like and make sure that people, are reaching that. So you can have issues with that, because some actors aren't as loud as others. Exactly. And some you have to say, okay, bring it down, But as I say, they're all taking direction. They're coming up with ideas, which I always encourage. I said, I'll soon tell you if I don't like your idea, but I welcome ideas.
Well, you have to be the one who's at the helm. But it's lovely to have that input, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I always say that there's one voice in any play or show, and it's the director's. But that doesn't mean that you have to dismiss other people's ideas. And some of the ones I've had already from cast members, I've got, yes, please insert that. That's lovely.
Really good, yeah.
And they're developing their own character from just a pencil sketch that I've given them in the script.
Amazing.
So I'm watching it come to life, and that's very satisfying.
So should we have a quick look? Should we have
Yes,
a look
let me
around?
give you
Would that be nice?
a tour.
Oh, it really is like a TARDIS, isn't it? Oh, and this is where the costumes are kept.
Yes, and we've got wigs and a few props and things.
Mr. Blobby's head up there and a cow. I'm guessing that might be a pantomime
feel free
cow.
to go right down to the bottom if you like.
Goodness
to see all the
me.
other trimmings that we have.
Oh, this is lovely.
Panto is,
I was going to say it's like Aladdin's cave, but it probably has got Aladdin in here somewhere as well, hasn't it?
Somewhere. But you can be asked to do anything in a pantomime. I mean, last year we did Puss in Boots, and this
Goodness
poor
me.
lady was in my play this year.
All the
she had to
shoes.
play a bowl of mashed potato. So, back end of a cow, you can be all those.
You've got a professional sewing machine here. Someone
do.
clearly is
Julie,
very talented.
Is one of the custodians of the costume department.
And does she make them as well? Does she have to make and alter and things?
Too much detail about what goes on up here.
And you've got all of your theatre makeup. This is so organised. And more shoes than I've ever seen before in my life. Lots of sparkles.
shoes.
Lots of heels.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But so we've got Sarah Knight, who has been associated with the Quay for some time, and she actually wrote a book, 100 Years of Sudbury Dramatic Society.
Oh, brilliant.
So that came out because we celebrated 100 years in 2021.
Yeah.
And we have a lady who's now on the board, whose grandfather founded the group all those years ago. So it's
That's
amazing.
amazing. And isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
You know, for a community to have those links is incredible, really. I love all the hats as well. I mean, so many
everyone
cowboys'
wearing a hat,
hats,
don't they?
so much glitter. It's what you need, isn't it? Witches' costumes, very useful for Halloween, just gone, of course.
Yeah. It just takes so much organisation as well, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's,
I say someone
to
is
keep on top of
clearly
and,
very organised here.
As I say, Sarah.
Everything, a place for everything and everything in its place. There must be, 30, 40 weeks there as
I was
well?
going to say, tell that to the actors. No, that doesn't fit. I'll just throw that over.
I'll just
I
throw
never
that
said
away. Someone else will deal with that.
Okay.
So talk to me about Cinderella just before we finish our interview. It starts...
Right, I'm glad I've got a leaflet to hand. Yes, I mean, I should know this by rote by now, but anyway. So we are on from the 15th to the 24th of December. Normal ticket prices are £15 and children concessions are £12 each.
And this is all being done by the Sudbury Dramatic Society.
Sudbury Dramatic Society.
And how can people get hold of tickets?
Right, well, they can contact the Quay. They have a website, which is www.quaysudbury.com, or they can phone the box office here on 01787 374 745. And just to let you know, we do double performances on the Saturday and the Sunday. They start at 11 and 3, so we don't have evening performances for those. But in the evening one, it's 7:30 in the weekday.
And you've got a special performance as well,
yes, a
haven't
special
you?
relaxed performance on Tuesday the 19th of December, which is...
That'll be without all the flashing lights and things, won't
we
it?
take out the pyros, we reduce the noise levels, we try not to interact physically with the audience, but it's a stress-free sort of environment.
Yeah.
And we also allow access to the bar. If people think they're finding it too much, they can go up to the bar and just chill there as well. So,
Dan, David, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for showing me around the Quay, and thank you for telling me a bit more about it, and also about the pantomime. Good luck with it.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Now, Sudbury is such a lovely place to visit. After I left David, we walked, that's my husband Steve and I, and our little dog, aka producer Ruby, who you've probably heard in previous episodes. Every now and again, she likes to make herself known. We walked along a disused railway line, which runs next to the meadow in Sudbury, and it's behind the Quay Theatre. And it's such a pretty walk, and it takes you back to the town centre. And as we were walking towards the town centre, I came across something completely out of the ordinary. I just saw the van. I've no idea what this is, but I'm not from round here. But I run like an entertainment podcast called Ruby Shoes.
Oh, right, cool.
And I talk to like theatres and performers and that sort of thing. And I thought a moving cinema. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah,
Can you
of
tell me
course,
what you're doing here in the middle of Sudbury?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're mind that.
Just dropping the ladder.
Dropping over, falling over step ladders, that's what we're doing. So yeah, we're owned and operated by Abbeygate Cinema in Bury St.
Oh, right.
So the owner of that owns this as well.
Yeah.
And we take this all over the country, not really Scotland, because they've got one of their own of these. But we'll do ticketed cinema, like what we're doing here this week in Sudbury, or we'll do festivals, or we'll do corporate hires, or private hires even.
That's such a good idea, because I mean, you've
done training sessions for banks.
Proper cinema seating and everything.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a full spec digital projector, same as a normal cinema.
Yeah.
Surround sound and 100, well actually 98.
But you can pack it up and drive it off.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
what cinema are you showing in Sudbury?
So we're showing, we've been here since Tuesday, we're here till Sunday, and we've been showing main feature films. We did some Halloween specials on Tuesday.
Of course.
Starting today, we've got Great Escaper, Miracle Club, got Paw Patrol on at the weekend for the kids. I mean, all sorts, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Because I saw you've even got a little stall outside selling all your snacks. And
We'll do the crisps and the snacks and all the rest of it outside. So that's a bit of a box office as well for sort of controlling people in and out. It's heated, air conditioned. So it's just great. Yeah.
What a great job
really
to
cool.
have.
But it's not it's not too bad. When it works, it's all fine.
Shh, don't say that. I'm sure it's all fine all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great bit of kit, and it's pretty unique. There's only 3 of these in the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
One stays in Scotland. One does just the military bases.
Yeah.
And you public can't get on that. This is the only
I've
other.
never seen
this is the
before,
only other public
ever.
one.
I thought it was amazing. Do you do any other parts of Suffolk and Norfolk?
We'll go all over the place. Yeah, we've done
do you
South
have like
Coast,
a sort of a
London.
tour?
It's not really a tour. It's just kind of like an as and when basis.
Yeah.
So we don't do like a fixed tour.
Yeah.
It's just a job comes up, we'll go out and do that, and then back again, and then.
But can people kind of go on a Facebook page or something and find you, or just know
they can look at our website, Facebook, or look through the Abbeygate Cinema website, and we're all on there. Yeah.
And it's called Moving Cinema.
Incredible Moving Cinema. Yeah.
I love that. I didn't even ask your name. I just Chris. I just literally walked in and went, "Excuse me."
That's all right. No worries. No, you like talking about it, because it is such a unique thing, and the majority of people have never seen one of these.
No.
And they're pretty big on the continent.
I just literally stumbled across you and thought, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a clever idea, especially for some of the smaller places. And
Sudbury's a reasonable sized town and doesn't have its own sort of full-time cinema, so we're sort of partly here to just sort of gauge demand and reaction and all the rest of it to possibly a permanent one coming in, but so we'll do that sort of thing.
And how has it been? Final question.
Very busy.
Really busy, really popular.
There's a 1:00 show on today, sold out.
Brilliant.
There's a show on tonight, that's sold out. Paw Patrol over the weekend, all sold out. I mean, so it's busy. So people have.
If you were in my town, I'd come.
Where are you?
Felixstowe.
Oh right, yeah, okay, Felixstowe. Yeah.
So we do have cinema, to be fair. So you probably won't come to us.
No, we don't want to annoy.
The
people
current one there.
We don't want to do that.
But if I was on holiday or somewhere, and I think, wow, there's a cinema suddenly popped up. This is brilliant.
Cool. But it's been supported by the council, so Sudbury Town Council and Bayborough District Council. So it's just one of their sort of offers for the public, So.
Amazing. Chris, thank you so much.
That's all right.
Shall I let you get on
Pleasure
there?
to talk to you. No, that's absolutely. You can go that way if you want.
I will. I'll go out the outdoor look, rather than just creep in and surprise you.
No problem at all.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. No worries.
Now, I promised you a bit more comedy this week, didn't I? Mike McClean is going to be back at the Ipswich Regent Theatre this December in the pantomime Sleeping Beauty. He is just a hilarious comedian, really, really funny guy. And I was pleased to catch up with him before he headed off on a cruise ship to entertain the audiences there. He'll be back in Ipswich in December, but let's hear from him now.
Hey, do you know what? When I first came here, it was difficult because I'd gone to places like, I'd been in Derby, and they were dead easy laugh. They were there for a night out. They wanted a laugh and blah, blah. And then when I came to do my first ever panto in Ipswich, I was doing stuff that I knew worked, and I was getting nothing back. I was like, God, nothing. And I was in digs with this lady, and she just went, yeah, that people from Suffolk for you. And I was just like, right. So I just had to think about, and I just had to make it so it just fell in their laps, and they didn't have to think about the comedy. And then when I did my one-nighters, they just loved it. They were brilliant, and I've been here. I think this is not 3, 4, 5. This is a 7th or 8th year now. Can't remember.
Yeah. You're part of the furniture now, Mike. Definitely.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And I've just signed for 3 years, so
wonderful. Describe where you are right now for our listeners.
I'm currently about to go into the Everlast gym with my son because he played football yesterday, so he needs a cooling down session. So I'm just about to go in there with my eldest son, just so he can have a cool down. And I like to go in the gym because I like to work out about 2-3 times a year. and they sell cheap pasties. So
tell me something that no one knows about you.
Yeah, I'm really good at cooking.
Okay, what do you like to cook?
Anything Spanish. My family is Spanish. I had a really good teacher in my mum, and she taught me how to cook everything from paella to oh god, lots of Spanish dishes, like loads of things. So I'm a good cook.
Lovely. All right. Tell me something that's still on life's list. It might be personally for you, or it might be professionally.
I'd like to do Live from the Apollo on BBC One, and I'd like to get back presenting. I'd love to do Saturday Night TV, where a show that involves the public, because that's where my skill is at.
Yeah, I think you'd be very, very popular.
Yeah.
Favourite part, because this goes out over Suffolk and also Norfolk, favourite part of either Suffolk or Norfolk? I'll give you the choice.
Carr Street in Ipswich. I get a lot of material walking down that street.
I was going to say why there? Yeah.
I tell you why there. As you go down Carr Street from the theatre, on the right hand side is the most amazing Asian shop that sells every spice known to man. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I get so much stuff and then bring it home. Like, it's brilliant. It's one of the best Asian shops for, like, it's owned by this lovely little Indian woman, and she's really nice. I'm like, have you got this? Have you got this? She's like, second shelf down there, second shelf. She's just got everything. I reckon if I went in there for a gearbox for a Ford Cortina, she'd probably tell me it'd be on the back shelf, bottom right on the back shelf, you know.
Probably right.
It's a great shop. If you like, it's a brilliant, brilliant shop.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Final question for you, Mike. 3 things you like to take with you when you're out on tour that just kind of make life easy for you and make you think, yep, I've got those in the glove box, or I've got those packed in my holdall. I'm happy now. I can go out on tour.
My electric toothbrush, my laptop, and my pillow. I have to have a hard pillow when I go out from sleep, and it has to be a hard pillow.
Now, back to theatre. I'm back at the new Wolsey Theatre, in fact, for Frankenstein tomorrow night. That's Tuesday the 7th of November. It promises to be an electrifying reimagining of the world's favourite horror story that will set minds and spines tingling, they say, with a stunning original score. It's set in 1943. While Europe tears itself apart, 2 women hide from their past at what feels like the very end of the world. One of them has a terrifying story to tell. I created life, it says. You don't believe me, but it's true. I didn't start from scratch, of course, but out of portions and odd ends, I made something alive. But what I created wasn't superhuman. It was a monster. You can hear how I got on in next week's episode of Ruby Shoes. I also want to say good luck to all of the cast of Calendar Girls. That's the Kesgrave Players. It opens this Wednesday night. A fantastic cast will be performing from this Wednesday, that's the 8th of November, through to Saturday the 11th of November in support of the Blossom Appeal for Heath Road Hospital. I can tell you Friday night is already a sellout, so get yourself your tickets for Calendar Girls. A little further ahead, still this month though, 14th to the 18th of November, the Theatre Royal in Norwich will come alive with over 50 West End stars. The multi-award-winning Broadway production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's The King and I returns to the UK, following its critically acclaimed sold-out season at the London Palladium, no less. The King and I is the greatest musical from the golden age of musicals, with one of the finest scores ever written, including Whistle Happy Tune, Shall We Dance, etc., etc., etc. Sorry, if you know, you know. Now, this gloriously lavish production is brought to the stage by an internationally renowned creative team under the Tony Award-winning director Bartlett Shear, who was in charge of South Pacific, My Fair Lady, To Kill a Mockingbird. And it will feature a world-class company of, as I say, over 50 West End and Broadway performers and a full-scale orchestra. I mean, what's not to like? Now, if you're part of a show, a panto you're directing, or perhaps you're planning a Christmas event and you'd like to be featured on Ruby Shoes Podcast, just get in touch with us via our socials. Ruby Shoes Podcast, tell us a bit about you, tell us what you've got planned, and we'd love to have you as a featured guest on a future episode. Until next week's episode, wrap up warm and stay dry. I'm Steph McIntyre. Thanks for listening to the Ruby Shoes Podcast. Hope you can join us next week, and do check out our socials in the meantime at Ruby Shoes Podcast.